My name is Piotr Lecki and I am the Product Manager for Video Surveillance at Alarmcorp, and today's topic is new product offerings from Alarmcorp. Okay, for those of you who have not joined our webinars before, let's just go through a list of some housekeeping first. You should see the GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar control panel on the right side of your screen with your name, and you should see the grab tab. So first of all of you will be muted for the duration of the webinar, and we will be taking questions later. Now, just to verify that you can all hear me, can you please press the raise hand button? And okay, good, I can start to see a few hands going up. Upstairs. Okay, good, thank you. Now if you can put them down, that will be great. Okay, now next, below that is the questions panel where you can type in your questions. You can type in a question at any time during the course of the webinar, and we will go through the questions in the order that they are received. Just remember to hit send once you've typed your question. Okay, with that, let's begin. Okay, today's agenda, we are talking about new product offerings from Alarmcorp. So we will briefly discuss in an overview range Variant, Dell, Interlogix, and some additional accessories that are available from Alarmcorp. Now, with regards to both Variant and Dell, I will show you some examples of actual applications rather than talking about the product per se, so bear with me. Now, please also excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold, so my voice is a little bit rusty. Okay, let's begin. Variant. Summary of the Variant portfolio. Now, Variant consists of Nextiva IP cameras, Nextiva IP encoders and decoders. There is a range of hybrid recorders called the Edge 100 and 200 range, and of course there is the overall Nextiva VMS software which manages the whole platform. Now, the Nextiva range of IP cameras includes a range of megapixel fixed dome and full body cameras. There's also a range of IP PPGZ cameras. Now, while not explicitly covered in this webinar, as part of the Variant portfolio, we also now have access to a range of Aricon megapixel cameras. And of course, the Nextiva VMS is a scalable management software, and it is a license-based model. Okay, a brief overview of Variant IP cameras. Now, there is a range of megapixel IP cameras from internal fixed domes, external fixed domes or vandal-proof domes, full body / box cameras, and also a range of PTZ cameras. Now, the resolutions on these cameras range from VGA through to 2 megapixel and full HD or 1080p at this point in time. Now, rather than spend too much time talking about them, I would invite you to come visit our stand at the Asia show next week, and you can see a number of these cameras in action being demonstrated at our stand. And of course, if you do have any questions, then please give me a call or send me an email, and I will be happy to answer any technical questions you may have. Now, let's take a look at a typical Variant example. And this deals with analog camera support. Now, an integral part of the Variant range is the S18X Encoder family, which can be connected to and then recorded with Nextiva 6.2. Now, this is a very scalable and a very flexible solution. Now, what is the... And in this case, we can take any conventional analog camera, fixed dome, full body PTZ, and connect it through to a Variant encoder. And of course, that Variant encoder can then be put on a network, and those cameras then effectively become accessible as IP cameras that can be accessed anywhere over the network. Now the S18X encoders are available as single port, 8 port and 16 port. And the real benefit of the 16 port encoders is that they are a very compact 1 RU height. So if you do have a number of analog cameras to be encoded, they can actually be encoded with very minimal rack space being required. And of course the encoder is fully managed via its web browser. Okay, let's take another look at a typical Variant application example. In this case we are dealing with a mixed system or migration concept, whereby we are using either the Edge 100 or the Edge 200 hybrid DVR, and this is ideal for a smaller system of say up to 64 cameras in total. Now the Edge 100 and 200 do come with a free video client software, and later this year there is full Nextiva 6.X integration planned. So in this example, once again, we have a number of analog cameras which are connected over BNC to an Edge DVR, but at the same time we can connect obviously that DVR to the network and connect a number of IP cameras to that Edge DVR. Now, hybrid recording is in itself not necessarily brand new. I guess what sets the Edge family apart is that they offer very, very high performance with the IP cameras, including real-time on multiple megapixel cameras. So they are at a much higher performance level than a number of other product offerings on the market. Okay, now we talked a little bit about the applications for encoding analog legacy cameras, and I guess it's worth taking the time to discuss why we would want to do this. Legacy support. First of all, maximizing the lifespan of trial investment in analog camera technology. In other words, if it works and does a good enough job, don't replace it, encode it, and budget for replacing it when it fails at a later date. And secondly, there are a number of specialized analog cameras that may not currently have a direct IP replacement or a cost-effective IP replacement. Now, some examples may include half-inch day-night cameras with very good low-light sensitivity. We may be looking at traditional pan-tilt heads with very long focal length motorized zoom lenses, such as those that are used in ports and traffic applications. We might be looking at ultra-compact wedge and board type cameras that are used in very, very small housings. For example, corner mount housings in correctional services or lifts or other smaller housings where a full-size IP camera simply will not fit. We might be looking at lift cameras where it is not viable to run Cat5 or Cat6 due to catenary wiring or even wiring length restrictions. Number plate recognition cameras, such as those that operate in the dedicated infrared spectrum. Next, we might be looking at wide dynamic range cameras that are used in entryways, lobbies, and loading docks. And finally, cameras with built-in long-range illumination. Now, there already are some IR cameras available with, IP cameras with built-in IR. But to give you an example in this case, let's compare a typical fixed dome camera with built-in IR, and this has a maximum range of 10 meters. Comparing that to, say, a typical analog camera with built-in IR, we have a range of 20 meters, and there are some analog cameras with an IR range of up to 50 meters. And in this case, we also have a focal length of 6 to 50 millimeters, which, say, a typical IP dome at 2 to 10 millimeters simply cannot replace, either due to the IR range or due to the range of the focal length. So in these cases, it may be more effective to encode the existing camera rather than replace it with an IP one. Okay, now in this case we have an example of a very much larger variant solution, And we can see this is based on a Nextiva platform where we have a master server controlling several master recorders. And in this case, each master recorder has got an external Dell PowerVault MD1200 storage device, which is a direct attached storage device. And we have up to 36 terabytes capacity per MD1200. This is based currently on 3 terabyte drives. And we use a Variant HDR 1800 device to give us a virtual matrix video wall application. Now you can see this system is quite large. We might be running up to 30 or 40 cameras per master recorder, and if we needed to grow that system, then we could simply keep adding building blocks as needed. So this gives you a good example of the scalability of the Variance solution. Okay, now let's look at the video wall example using Variant. Now there are 2 devices available that can drive large display panels, and there is the HDR 1800 that can drive up to 2 displays, and there is the S1801 which can drive a single display. Now both of these devices can drive a HDMI output at full HD, in other words 1920 by 1080. With the HDR 1800 being able to display up to 9 cameras per monitor, while the smaller S1801 can display up to 6 cameras per monitor. So again, we've got a bit of scalability here, and we can pick the best device that suits our application. Now, in order to deploy this video wall in Variant, a virtual matrix license is required. Okay, bit of an overview of Nextiva management software. Nextiva normally works in a client-server architecture whereby the master server contains, or master recorder contains, the database and manages the actual recording and configuration of the database. And a client workstation is used to access the system for live viewing and playback. The Nextiva management software itself typically runs on Windows Server 2008, whereas the client workstation can be running operating systems such as Windows XP or Windows 7. And there is a fair bit of difference in the hardware required to run these two. Typically, the management software will require a fairly high-end rack-mounted server, whereas the viewing station can run on a good performance desktop workstation. And again, this is something that we will be able to demonstrate to you at the Azure stand next week, because we will have a working Variant demo on our stand. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Dell Hardware. Alarmcorp is now a Dell partner. Now this gives us the ability to supply equipment such as rack-mounted PowerEdge servers, direct attached PowerVault storage devices, as we saw in the earlier example, precision and optiplex workstations, and both Dell monitors and network switches, typically as part of a project solution. Now, what are the advantages of doing that? Reliability. Dell hardware is pre-configured at the factory with matched components. So there is a guarantee that all components will work together, drivers, etc. Now the Dell rack servers are designed for continuous 24/7 operation. The other big benefit is that Dell equipment tends to have a longer product life cycle, which allows more stable specifications for a project. So let's say we have a project with a stage layout and we want to buy a particular hardware configuration now, and 2 or 3 or 4 months down the track we need to buy exactly the same hardware configuration to expand the system. With the Dell product, it is fairly certain that we will be able to get exactly the same config as what was bought 6 months ago, and this is in quite a difference to your typical high street PC shops whereby the hardware specs can change on a daily basis. And importantly, with the Dell equipment, typically it is sold with 3 years next business day on-site service. So we are dealing with high quality equipment that's backed up and guaranteed to work. And if something does go wrong, there is fast and reliable service. Now, Dell hardware, if ordered with an OS, will already ship with the operating system already installed. Now, whether that's specified as Windows Server or Windows 7, up to the configuration. Now, we, as Alarmcorp, if you order the system through us, we can pre-install chosen software prior to shipping the equipment to you, and that can save you, as the installer, time on site. Now, applications where we would do this. We can do this if we are putting together a Variant Nextiva solution. We could also do this if you wanted to order a TrueVision Navigator workstation for a project that deals with Interlogic's NVR20s or DVR60s. Likewise, we could do this if you wanted to order a workstation to go with Extralis Video Central Platinum. So, having the advantage to offer this equipment gives us a certain ability to, to pre-configure a solution to give more peace of mind to the installer. Okay, moving along, a brief update of what's new in the Interlogic's world. There is a new version of TrueVision Navigator Service Pack 3 available. This is the latest release. It is basically a cumulative bug fix. It is still cost-free and license-free, and it is a recommended update for sites using TrueVision IP cameras with either DVR60 or NVR20. And it is available for download at the link shown. And as you can see on screen, once you install it, it will show 4.0 SP3 in the splash screen. Next, there is a new Interlogic's XP4 Dome available. Now, this is a latest generation wide dynamic range Vandal Dome based on the Pixton C12 chipset. 2-day night, 3-axis adjustable, very high resolution, applications typical for wide dynamic range cameras, and actually that is yep, that is correct. And of course, being a traditional analog camera, you can use it with any of the Variant Nextiva encoder range, just like you could use it with any other analog DVR. And as with the other equipment, we will have this camera in operation at our Asia show stand next week, so please stop by for the demo. There is also a new Interlogic's IPbased available. Now, this is a standard definition or full SIF camera at 36 times optical zoom, 2-day night operation, 2 housing options, weatherproof wall or pendant housing, and a flash mount housing, and this will eventually replace the Legend IP. Now, it is fully compatible with all the existing Legend mounting accessories, and it can be recorded with either the NVR20 or the DVR60. And again, stop by our stand next week at Asia for a demo of this camera. And there is also a new UltraView Analog PTZ. Now, this is a standard definition analog camera. 2 options, 27 and 37 optical zoom, 2-day night. A range of housing options available, again compatible with all of the existing mounting accessories. And what's really nice about this camera is that the PTZ module is backwards compatible with existing Cyberdome, Cyberdome 2 housings. So if you do have an existing Cyberdome on site and you do want to simply upgrade the camera performance, you can put in just the module. And again, as with the other cameras, we will have this in operation at our Asia stand next week. Okay, so this brings us to a conclusion about the main branded product offerings. Let's just briefly talk about some other products that Alarmcorp can now offer. We now can offer a range of specialty camera housings. So these include corner mount for correctional applications, wedge for underpass or public transport applications, and there are others. So an example of a corner mount, this particular housing can take a standard length full body camera. There are other options available, and of course the wedge type housing that can be used in underpass applications where vandalism is a concern. So Alarmcorp has got access to these now, so please contact your nearest Alarmcorp representative for additional details. And finally, Alarmcorp can now offer a range of large screen monitors, including commercial grade LCD and plasma displays. These are from various leading brands such as NEC and Mitsubishi and more. And sizes 40 inches, 42 inches, 46 inches and larger. Now these are always done on a project-specific basis, so please contact us for details, but we will certainly be able to help you supply a quote with what's available. Okay. Finally, on a slightly different topic, we talked earlier a lot about IP-based solutions, particularly the Variance solution, having it installed on Windows devices and Windows Server PCs. As a sideline, remote access to any video over IP system often requires that the NVRs are on public IP addresses. So this raises some questions for the configuration of the system. Have the login credentials been changed from their defaults, e.g. admin? If the passwords have been changed, who keeps the details? And if the person who keeps the details of the passwords either leaves the company, falls sick, or is hit by a bus, who else knows? Now this is not a trivial issue, as resetting a lost password may be problematic. It may involve returning the unit back to the supplier. It may involve having a technician out on site at a particular date and time. It may involve uninstalling or reinstalling software. It may even involve rebuilding the server or workstation with a complete operating system reload. So I guess while resetting a lost password is not impossible, it may be time consuming. So that's just a note to finish off on. Okay. Okay. Would you like to know more? Additional information can be found on our website. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Alarmcorp Pulse to get full access to the e-commerce platform, including order placement and pricing. Contact your nearest Alarmcorp representative, being Jeff Rushton in New South Wales, Diane Brazil in New South Wales, Stephen Dinger in Victoria, SA and WA, and myself, Piotr Oletsky, on the number listed 0421-378-334, or email me direct on prd@alarmcorp.com.au. Now there will be additional webinars held this year. We aim to hold a CCTV webinar every month on a Wednesday. Typically it's the second Wednesday of the month. Topics planned for this year include the iPhone as a surveillance tool, CCTV fundamentals looking at network video system design, and optimizing DVR configuration. Now go to our website at the link below and you can see the full list of webinars planned for the remainder of 2012. We look forward to your participation and we hope to see you at the Azure stand next week. Okay, and as said before, please visit our website. We have specials regularly updated, so it's worth stopping by for a visit to check what's new. alarmcorp.com.au. Okay, now over to question time. As we discussed earlier, please feel free to type your questions and I will go through them sequentially. Now, in case you're shy, the questions, if you type a question, I am the only one that sees them and I will not be reading out any names, so don't be ashamed to ask.